So today I'm going to do creating your own classroom culture. Just a little bit about me. I am walking or stepping into my third year here at Skyview. I started here and still here. And so part of my program that I am doing for my second master is doing a professional development. Here at Skyview, I've had the opportunity to kind of talk with some people, and a lot of the conversations is, okay, hey, can you teach me how you do that, or things like that. And so I wanted to give this opportunity to kind of go over just some things. Again, I'm not an expert, however, I just wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I have found to be true. And this wasn't something I created like in a day. This is something that my first year definitely taught me. And so I just wanted to share those things with you. So let's get started. This is from the T-test. So this is those domain 3, and it's talking about managing student behavior, and then of course creating classroom culture. And so creating those things in the classroom so that you have a successful classroom and everything is smooth. All right, so I like to, in my class, we talk out, and so we're gonna do like a really yell out, and you can just say your answer. But if you had your ideal classroom, what would that look like?
Empty. No, I'm just playing. That's next week. That was icebreaker, guys.
So just an ideal classroom, if you had it your way, what would it look like? Engaging. What else? Organized chaos.
Very structured.
Very structured.
Students or scholars always ready to learn.
Yes, the ready to learn scholars. So yes,
High reader.
high rigor. Yes, so all of those things. So now, those that are classroom teachers, are those your classroom? Is that what your classroom looks like? If not, we'll definitely work on it. So, the biggest quote that I started this year, and if you know me, this is like my biggest quote. People forget about what you said all the time, but how you make them feel is what holds dear. And so, my personal outlook on life, my perspective is I never want anybody to have an experience with me and I hurt them. And so, that's the same with my scholars. When they interact with me, I never want them to say, well, Ms. Thomas hurt my feelings today. Or I didn't get to enjoy the learning experience because of how I felt with Ms. Thomas. I never want that experience. And so, when you are creating your classroom culture and spending time with these scholars, think about how you're making them feel. And I know we want to get the lesson done, we want to make sure they're learning, but also how they're feeling helps them learn. If they don't feel great, and if you've made them hurt, they're not gonna listen, they're not gonna learn. That's where a lot of those behaviors will come into play, because now you've made them empty. So, just think about that as you are creating your classroom culture. How am I making them feel? And again, it's not I'm rubbing your back and making you happy in everything that you do, but when you even, punish them or not punish them, when you give them consequences, think about, am I chastising, or at the end of the day, I want them to walk away learning from this experience. All right, so classroom culture defined is, according to Webster, it is a set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices. At the end of the day, it's how you guys, and the very key word is the shared. A big thing that I do in my classroom is I want them to know this is not just my classroom. This is ours. And as long as you keep saying our, and this is our moment, and things like that, it's our shared value of this classroom. And why is it important to create a good classroom culture? It creates a safe place. Our scholars at this school is a very diverse population. We have scholars that live in the big house, get everything that they want, and then we have the scholars that are homeless. We don't know what their house looks like. We don't know what they experience. We don't know what they're going through, but this should be their safe place. Mom, dad, whatever is going on at home, this should be the place that they come and they don't have to really think about what my home life is gonna look like. And so creating that classroom culture now creates that safe place for them. And it enhances the quality of learning. Again, if they feel good, they're gonna do good. They're gonna be excited to come to school every day. They're gonna be excited to learn. As Ms. Dawson said, they are ready to learn. They're like, okay, what do you got? Let's go. Because this is their safe place. This is where they are comfortable. And then it supports their scholars' social and emotional needs. There was a meme that says like, the teacher has many hats. We do. And that's something we signed up for when we became teachers. We didn't just sign up to just be teacher. We are gonna be mom, we are gonna be sister, we are gonna be all these titles, a counselor. This is what we are for. And so we wanna make sure that when we are creating these classroom cultures, that we are taking those things into consideration as well. All right, so let's dive into some key successful elements. Organization is very key. Establishing expectations and sticking to them, and letting them know the expectations. Student engagement, building solid relationships. And I like to say that fostering that relationship. So not just building it, but fostering it. That doesn't take a day, that takes some time. And then enjoy the ride, have fun. So organization. So a little bit about me, I was an assistant director in a child care, and then I was a preschool teacher before that. And the biggest thing that Kids Are Kids taught us a lot of is labeling, and that was so that the students, as we teach that social aspect of putting things where they belong, is having the picture with the label, and that helped their learning. And so I brought that to here, and in my classroom, I do have labels, because again, this is not just my classroom, this is our classroom. So we keep our classroom clean, we keep our classroom tidy. And so I have labels and everything goes. And then teachers, we think about those moments where we're moving and you say, hey, can you go get this? And then that scholar is like all over the place because they don't know where everything is. So having that organization helps, but it also teaches them about organization. Again, we are that life skills teacher as well. So if they are not, you don't know what their home life is. Their house may be a hoarder house where everything is all over the place. So again, teaching them life skills where they are learning this goes here and this goes this. And so we are teaching them not just that. Classroom labels. And another thing, organization, is lesson plan. I know our admin was very big on this year, allowing us having opportunities to actually plan ahead. That's very key. That lets a scholar know that you are prepared for them. So now it puts the ball back in their court to be prepared for you. And so if you are that teacher that's, okay, y'all come sit down and I'm still putting papers together and hold on, let me go get this and let me do that. Now as a scholar, you're not ready for me. And so now I'm not gonna act up, because like, hey, you're not ready for me, I'm not gonna be ready for you. And so being prepared, make copies. I have slides, and because you're participating, I'll give you some slides too. But I have some slides that you guys can use. I use slides throughout the day, and it's keeping me organized and set, but it's also helping them so they know. And in my class, I say what the board say, and so they know where to go next. And then plan for the what ifs, the pivots. Those who have multi-classes, you know, your first block is not always gonna look like your third block. And so having those moments where this worksheet may work for this group, but maybe I need to come with a bigger rigor on this group. And so being able to have those pivoting opportunities where you're not just like, okay, what do I do? Because again, if you're not prepared for them, they're gonna show you. And that's gonna be where the behavior counts. Any questions? Because I'm trying to get y'all out here at the same time. But if y'all have any questions. Establishing expectations. Create expectations for the scholars as yourself. Again, this is going back to that this is our, so they not just know, and Ms. Collins does this a lot on the announcements. She lets the scholars know what their expectation is, but also our expectations as teachers. So now it lets them know that we're all in this together. And so now, when I know what Ms. Thomas is supposed to do, and I know what I'm supposed to do, so as much as they wanna hold us accountable, we can flip the script and say, okay, well, I'm doing my part, are you? And so that gives that, interchange between you and them. Be clear on those expectations, let them know. I remember at the beginning of the year, the admin kept saying, go over those rules. It's constant, and sometimes you may have to review. We're having a big break coming up, and so you may have to say, okay, let's go back over here to the rules and have them displayed and going over them, letting them know the expectation. Champs, having that, going over that as well. Okay, we're about to transition to this. Remember, our voice level is this, and this like that. And so that's letting them know the expectations, so now that you can also hold them accountable. And be consistent. It's gonna be sometimes, especially coming back from winter break, where you're gonna get little Johnny or little Susie to get up and walk around, cause they got up and walked around their house for 2 weeks. So yes, they're not gonna ask you to go to the bathroom, they might just go to the bathroom. And so don't say, well, I'm not gonna do that today, or it's whatever. Stay on them, because that's gonna help them understand the expectation, but you're also being consistent, which lets them know to be consistent. Again, teaching them those life skills.
And your students will be as consistent as you are.
So this, and again, like I said, we're teaching them those life skills. We're teaching them to be model citizens. And so as much as we're consistent, they'll be consistent. And never water it down. Now, of course, there's different age groups, and so how you talk to a sixth grader is gonna be, of course, different, how you talk to a pre-K student. But you should not go to a sixth grader and say, okay, I need you to do, that's not gonna work for a sixth grader. So never water down your expectations, never change it because one didn't fit the quote. Like Richardson has a clear cut what a teacher looks like. They're not gonna change it because Ms. Thomas wants to wear leggings tomorrow. It's still, she's gonna have to follow these rules and regulations, and so that's the same thing with the classroom. I guess I was thinking they want to wear leggings. All right, student engagement opportunities. Again, fostering that relationship and letting them know that this is our classroom. And I'm being honest, the classroom jobs, my first year was a big thing. I know me and Ms. Dawson talked about this as well. Like the pivot that we had in 4th grade and opening up the classroom jobs and the table jobs helped like our classroom change. Cause one, we weren't doing everything. But then two, it also gave them a sense of belonging. And now it helped them feel like, okay, this is our classroom. So then now they're holding each other accountable. Like, don't put that pencil on our floor. You need to put that pencil up. Or you borrow Miss Thomas' pencils every day. Why didn't you put it back? And so now they're holding each other accountable. So now that you, and that's part of our key test, since they can't hear me, but allowing them to have that opportunity where they're student leading the classroom and you're just being the facilitator at that time. Student-led discussions. This I absolutely love because math is one of the subjects that a lot of people probably don't like. But just hearing them have a dialogue and being able to say, okay, no, you got the answer wrong, and then explain why, well, you forgot to carry the one, and you know you're supposed to do this, and it's like, yes. And so they have those moments where they're able to have dialogue with each other. And believe it or not, they learn a whole lot more from each other than us. And so giving them that opportunity to have that. Think, pair, share, again, saved my life my first year. Because now it took me out of the role of just teaching, but allowed me to just facilitate and make sure the conversation stayed on topic. But just hearing that and being honest, the conversation stayed on topic. I didn't have to say, okay, remember we talking about shapes. They knew, okay, this is how it goes, this is what you do, and things like that. And so allowing them to be a part of their learning experience helps a lot. Like how I introduce myself or how I introduce it with the class at the beginning of the year is I let them know, right now Ms. Thomas is driving the car. But at some point, Ms. Thomas is gonna go to the driver's seat and I'm just gonna navigate you and guide you through the year. But you're gonna be able to take and drive your own learning. And so giving them opportunities to drive their own learning. Group presentations are amazing. Allowing them to be the teacher is amazing. It's a great way to have a formative assessment where you are able to actually see if they're learning. A great summative as well. And that way you're able to see if they're learning without actually having a test. Sometimes it's opening that to just hear them talk. Have a moment. Now, will it be funny? Because sometimes they actually are you, and so you'll get to have that moment like, did I really say it like that? But allowing them to actually have their own partnership in the learning. And then center rotations. I introduced this a little bit last year, but this year I was really homaging on it because it allowed me time to have more one-on-one moment with the scholars, and they loved it. We had certain tables on certain days, and they held me to it. It was like, nope, Ms. Thomas, you're supposed to meet with table 3 today. I need my time, and that was giving me a time to see if they're actually learning the lesson, what gaps I need to close, things like that. And so centers work. And I promise you, if you do it enough, they'll learn to say, okay, today I'm playing this game, or today I'm on my technology, and you get to a point where you don't have to worry about if little Johnny or little Susie is on YouTube versus where they're supposed to be. So giving them that opportunity as well in the classroom. Building solid relationships. I know we have, especially during this season, it's very key to have those solid relationships with them. The morning greetings mean a lot. And I know sometimes we get caught up in the hustle and bustle. We're trying to make it to the copy machine. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. But those morning greetings mean so much. And I just wanted to pause there and imagine this whole moment. And so if y'all can close your eyes and listen to, this is a typical day or a possible day. Little Johnny, he went to bed late because he stayed up and played his game. And mom, instead of just saying, get up, she's yelling, Johnny, you shouldn't have stayed up all night. Get up, we gotta go. And so he's rushing to get up, and she rushes him out the door. And then he gets on the bus because now he's late to get on the bus. And the bus driver says, why are you late? Get on the bus, hurry up, we gotta go. And then he arrives at school, and then he comes to the door, and this day, there's no morning duty. They were late. And then he comes around the corner, and he shows his teacher, hey teacher, look what I got. No, you need to sit down on the wall. Open your eyes. How was Johnny feeling? Right. And he had multiple adults that could have built him up, and all they did was tear him down over and over. Some of our scholars are walking into that. Sadly, we are, because we are hustling, bustling, trying to get it done. So those morning greetings, believe it or not, mean more than you think they do. And I love it, like coming down the hallway, because I love Beyonce, sorry. So when I come down the hallway, I feel like a miniature Beyonce, because they're like, hey, Miss Thomas, hey, Miss Thomas. I'm like, yeah. And so I have those moments, but those moments mean so much because you don't know what they encountered at home. And you don't know what they experienced at home. You don't know what they experienced coming in. And so those morning greetings, sometimes it's a simple pause. And allow yourself or space for them to hear, like to just listen. Because some of them are mom and dad at home. Sometimes they got to take care of little brother, little sister. And so they don't have time to just be a kid. So they want to tell you about their game. They want to tell you about this. No one's listening. So sometimes those stories now, granted, I'm in 4th grade, they like to tell everything. And so hearing the whole story, but sometimes they just want to have that moment. They want to be a kid for a moment. So allowing that space. And again, allowing them to feel that their voice matters. I do this a lot in my classroom. I want to hear from you because I really want to know what you know, but I also want you to know that you can trust me. Again, going back, this is their safe place. This is the place where they should feel the most comfortable. No matter what happened on the way to school, no matter what they're gonna go home to, this should be their safe place. And we wanna make sure we are giving that. And parent relationships. This is the calls, the things like that. Know what they're dealing with. have that parent engagement. Let the partnership be known. I know at the beginning of the year, we have the parent-teacher conference. Let those be known. Hey, let's talk. If you have a question, I'm here. Let's work through it. I know fourth grade, the biggest thing they asked this year was, okay, Ms. Thomas, now I've been out of school a while, so how are you doing this quote-unquote new math? And so I took time to make sure that I gave them that opportunity. Okay, this is how you do it now. If you need to call me, these are the times we can call and work through it. But that's letting the parents know that we are partnering with, again, building those solid relationships. That will keep you from the moments sometimes where the mom is going off on you because little Johnny beat you home with a story, but they will be able to say, no, I know Miss Thomas. Now, did she say it like this, or did she really say it like this? And so building that relationship with them. And enjoy the ride. Allow room for mistakes. Let them know that you made mistakes. It is okay to say, oh, I put a 2 versus a 3, I'm sorry. Because that, again, that teaches them those life skills that they need to see, those social skills that we too, as adults, make mistakes. And it helps them. And don't sweat the small things or the minor things. So what, this child needs to stand up versus sit down. It is okay. Some of them can't.
I said it one more time.
It is okay that they need to stand up versus sit down. Now, if they're doing all this, that's different. But if they're standing and, some of my scholars do say, Miss Thomas, can I stand? Yeah, okay. Because Miss Thomas can't sit for a long time. So I can't hold you to a standing. I know I can't do it. And so allow them that opportunity, that space. Some of them, like, they want to sit in the corner. They want to sit, some of them want to sit up under me. And they'll say all the time, can I sit at your table? Can I sit with you? But allow those moments. And not everything is a thunderstorm, and I say that a lot in fourth grade. If we're teaching them those social skills, we're teaching them with our actions. So we can't say, hey, it don't need to be this big issue if every time they see us making everything a big issue.
Say it one time.
So, no, for the people in the back. So we are teaching them with what we do. So if every time I have my hat on and you mad because I got a hat, and you making a whole scene, you can't get mad when they're making a whole scene that someone stepped on their shoe. So we are the example. And don't sweat it. Some stuff is just like, okay. Or I tap, like I'm gonna tap on the table and they're like, okay, move. Or sometimes just you coming by. And then have fun with your scholars. Like, a big thing, now I'm not a sneakerhead at all. However, I know that related to my scholars. And so when Miss Thomas got a new pair of Jordans, it was like, oh, Miss Thomas got Jordans. And I was like, yay. And so having those moments where you're relating to them. Now their music, I would never be able to touch some of their music, throw me off. But having fun with them. Letting them know, like I say TikTok, and they're like, what, you got a TikTok? But making those moments. And the last thing, let your passion meet your purpose. Being a teacher, we took a long road to get it. It wasn't easy. We took thousands of tests. I think me and Mr. Lambert talked about that. It took a whole bunch of tests, a whole bunch of money. And so that means you had to be passionate about it, because I'm gonna be honest, that PPR test was some serious. And so you had to have some passion in it to keep going. So guys, this is your time to let that passion meet your purpose. And your purpose is to reach their lives. Teach them. You're teaching them not just the content, but also their social skills. And making that environment, that place, a fun place. We're here 8 hours. No one wants to be anywhere with a grouch for 8 hours. The same with the scholars. So sometimes, like our admin said at the beginning here, if you have a bad day, shake it off at the door, because it's showtime. Make magic happen is what I always say in my classroom. So let your passion meet your purpose. Any questions?